Okay guys, so coming back to you guys with another demo from this weekend, well last weekend, but this is the demo that I had the most people tell me, hey, make sure you get it, we want to see it. So this is going to be Mr. Cletus Richards of Apple Road Bait and Lures. This is going to be his general predator trapping demo, and let me tell you, Mr. Cletus is a great guy. He's a wonderful person. He reminds me of that fun old granddad everybody had. I mean, he's in his 70s, but this dude is still out there just slaying coyotes and bobcats and everything. And he gave such a great demo. He's one of the big guys in the industry. You say his name, people know him, people respect him, and he comes down. I think he's been coming down for the last 2 or 3. I can't quite. He might have been coming for all of them, but anytime I've gone, he's been there. And he's great, man. I love talking to him, and he gave a great demo. I have to apologize again. We are less than 100 yards from a shooting range. I'm not even joking. Less than 100 yards next to a shooting range doing this demo. So there are a lot of gunshots in the background. I did try and boost the audio like I did the last couple, but it's still a little hard to hear at times. Just work with me here. I apologize. But again, this is going to be a pretty good demo going over coyotes, bobcat, fox. He talks about how he baits. He's pretty straightforward. He's not really a 300 trick pony. This works. This is what I do, and yeah. So it's a great demo. Everybody's gonna want to see it. So here you go. And I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I enjoyed listening and I enjoyed filming it.
It's Richards with Apple Road Predator Baits. So I've been trapping since 1969 when I come back from Vietnam. I'm going to do a little showing on the set, but what I want to do is get with you verbally on what's going on. We got some more people coming. We'll hold up for a little bit. So. You guys about missed out on the possum catching predators. So, everybody knows what a dirt hole is, but I want to show you a few things on it. Actually, this would be a very good location. We've got, if you look, you got 2 travel lanes here, right? You got one coming this way and one right along this edge. So, the one thing that people forget about on the travel lanes is you want to play the wind. Either side here would work for anything coming this way, but you'd want to be further out. Oh yeah, here's the middle. Okay. As you see, I like using an auger. I use gloves for my protection because as far as being scent free, guys, you're not going to be scent free. If my bird dog can track me when I'm wearing hip boots, okay. What I like doing is digging, having a void underneath the bottom. One of my favorite traps is the 550 MB. All set. I've caught everything. Matter of fact, there was a wolf caught up 5 miles from the Canadian line with a 550 MB. And he happened to use Apple Road bait. These traps come right out of the box ready to go. And I'm not going to set the anchor. You guys know what super stake, you guys know how they work. How many use super stakes? Most of you. For the ones that don't know, I'm going to show you. This is the only thing that does fill up the dirt. Here's your super stake drives just like this in the ground. And then it's like this. When you go to pull it, it does this number. This will catch, and they cannot pull it. Now, there's pullers that are made to pull this with chain. If you put these together yourself, you need to weld the S-link, because this thing holds so well that it will straighten that S-link out, and your head will stay in the ground. So, matter of fact, this is number 2 Embry chain. If you looked at my trap, you'll see that these are welded also, because you'll pull them apart. Okay, I'm right-handed. I usually sit to the outside. When I take the trap, I come in here at an angle, just like that. Alright, did you guys see how I twisted that in? Did you notice that? I want you to look. See how solid that is already? I haven't done anything but twist it in. You know why that happened? I made a serial bow. I made a hole. Remember I said I made a void? If you don't have that void and you got the high spot, it will rock like this, like a teeter-totter. Now, why are we doing that? We talked about scent control just a while ago. That makes things faster for you. Okay, normally I would have drove this down in the dirt. I may not have, I may have to make a barley hole. Okay. I put about that much on there and I pack around like that.
You're not using pan cover, or is this just?
Well, I didn't put pan cover in. I put it elementary. This is my pan cover. Okay?
Polyfill?
Polyfill. It doesn't matter. If I was using peat moss, I won't use a pan cover. And for some reason, you guys don't freeze like I've got out of the truck and it'll be 2 degrees.
We'll get that here.
You know, you have to adapt with your country or where you go. And you guys, some of you guys may go out of state and trap in the north. For years, I trapped between Dodge and Garden City. My coyotes average about 78 bucks a pop. Highs of 118. The same coyote today, they're saying they're going to go for 10, 11 bucks. Okay. I will do that like that. Sometimes I'll make a walkthrough. And what I've done is I've guided him with that right there. Now this works really well for cats too. That walkthrough. The bait. You guys know I do Apple Road. I use half of one of these as set, guys. Everybody's supposed to laugh.
Yeah.
Actually, guys, I use that much. That's all I use. And what I like, I put that, this is a dirt hole, guys. This is the hole I drilled, this right here. I put it on the roof. Now why I put it on the roof, when it cools off at night, your thermals will come up, and that's just like a chimney in the stove. And where's the heat going to go? It goes to the top. That goes out in the airstream. Okay. My bag, I want to go to equipment. These are $20 Huskies. That's what it costs. Now one little trick that I've done is I take a utility knife and I cut this webbing. That makes one of the best places to put that knife. And if you're an old 75-year-old man like me, you put one on each side because you go off and leave one right there like that when you make the set. So you got one, you know. Okay. Now we got the basics of the dirt hole. It's the same. There's one wrong way. Actually, there's two wrong ways to do this trap. Talking about position of the trap and all that. As long as that trap's right side up, now that's the wrong way to set a trap, upside down. If it's right side up, that animal can step in it, right? So this so far back and all that, you can make that animal step exactly where you want him to. And you got lots of guides. I put guides everywhere over here and make him sit. Okay, we've got that there. I use a little bit of gland lure right here. Let it hit P. Okay, why would you use a gland lure on a dirt hole? Do you guys know how glands work, how the gland lures work?
Depending on the time of year, you can get a sexual or territorial response out of it, can't you?
That's right. You can actually piss him off and lose caution. Okay, when a coyote comes in and works this, just like Donovan said, you get a sexual or territorial urge. What happens is, if he doesn't work this set, you got him all hyped up hormone-wise. So he's going to pee on the first thing that he can see. So you know what you want to do?
Put another set.
Something as simple as this, guys. Come right over here away from the set. Put that right there. That trap's going to be buried right there. What have I done?
Peepos.
We've excited him. He's an educated animal or he's a shy animal. He's going to be here. Now the same thing, there's two of them comes in. I pop one right here. I got that sit right over there. See how many different chances I'm giving myself on that? Okay. You could make that your main set. How many have seen these?
T-bone.
T-bones. We can do the same thing with a T-bone. This could be your secondary set or your primary set. Your lure and or bait goes inside that right there. It dries down. They've got the grab and pull sets, and on those are nothing but a peg with some fur or burlap hot glued to the top. But you want to, being as this goes down so far, on that it's best to use like a small birch or something like that to keep it there, because they will pull it, grab and pull, grab and bite. They'll actually go away with it. This trick right here, oh, there is one thing I forgot. You know where the other way to not do your trap? Leave it in the back of the truck. If my philosophy, if this set is worth one trap, it's worth two. You'll never catch a double if you only have one. Now, we talked about I was teasing you. I was going to give the they wanted me to do a predator, and I was going to show you how to catch possums because they are a predator. I just got through showing you that because I guarantee you that possum runs 5 minutes before the good stuff runs, so he's going to get these sets right here. So, in western Kansas, there's 4 square miles and it's as flat as a flitter most of the time or gently rolling. I drive down the property line right through the middle of those when I hit a crop change, and the crops this year will be wheat stubble. It'll overwinter, and the next year they no-till milo into it, so it changes every year, you know, the crops do. If that's a good change up, then there'll be green wheat. And then you'll have milo stubs or corn stubble. Now the corns they really take down low, but the milo stubs about like this. That's a good travel lane. But I drive through, and guys, I've caught 3 and 4 coyotes at a stop. And the other thing that I do is I skip those 4-mile sections. If I can put 4 traps in one 4-mile section on a hot crossing, and then I'll skip one because those coyotes travel 5 to 7 miles out there, you know. So there's no need of just a ton of traps when you can catch them the other way. But anyway, I like skipping sections, but when you actually hit the territorial boundary, never was good at basketball either. But when you hit that territorial deal is where you've really got the aggression on your sets, and you catch a lot of animals. I've caught 100 coyotes in 9 or 10 days out there, but there's a lot of coyotes, and I've got the pictures to back it up. But the thing of it is, here it takes you a long time to egress, or you know they got gates to open and all this. So a lot of the time there, I open one gate on 50,000 acres. You know, so the one farmer out there, this friend of mine, farms 18 square miles. He's got 2 friends that farm all the same, so I have a lot of territory out there to trap. Okay. I didn't. Bobcats, you'll catch bobcats in a dirt hole. A dirt hole, well, Mark, dirt hole will catch more animals than about anything because it guides so much. Now, they was going to bring me something to hang a flag, and I didn't see it, so I'm going to.
Got that twig right there.
Yeah, but there's a right over above your set there.
Well, I'm going to, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
I brought stuff for that. I wanted to, there's not enough, well maybe there is, we don't have any wind. But that is moving. I wanted to show you if we had more wind. On these feathers, that's nothing but a paper clip. It is moving just what little breeze we've got here. So you can take and make a 90 degree and that thing will just, it'll just pinwheel like this. The end will go. There's some states, how many have used turkey flight feathers? Have you, yeah. If you're in strong wind with a flight feather, it spins so much you'll actually wear out a regular swivel. I mean 3 days in Texas Panhandle and feathers laying on the ground with half of the swivel laying with it. So it just works, so you need a ball bearing swivel. Now, a friend of mine, and thing I like, this is nothing but 1.5 inch satin ribbon. It's expensive, about 20 yards. It's $2 at Walmart. You can get a bunch of it. Hot glue gun, and you can use a small regular swivel. That right there meets all, some of the states you go to. All right, now we got some wind, guys. See how that's moving? Mm-hmm. No more breeze than we got right here. Now, here's what I wanted to, I'm glad, thank you, Father, for getting that. If that Now see the difference, the way it does without the 90. Now watch with the 90. See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
You get a lot more movement just for that simple.
And it's not trying to flop and go up and get tangled up on your wire.
Yeah, okay. That's just a paper clip.
That took.
Yeah,
It's a simple deal, but that's what I wanted the demo to be. Was to give you some stuff. You guys have seen how to do these dirt holes sometimes. Now I want to go back to gland lures. The Donovan hit on it. That was actually a cat gland lure that I put there for a coyote. Now when you use an off-species lure, you're actually, it does two things. It's a curiosity because it's a different species animal. So you got the curiosity deal. Then it's a territorial because what's he doing in my backyard? So that's what your gland lures inside. So now, of course, you don't have a shortage of trees in Louisiana. And I like my flagler cat to be about right there.
Directly over the trap?
On a cat, if I was going to make that for a cat, I'd have multiple lures because a cat's very, very deliberative. So I want him to make multiple steps. If you can make him make one more step, what have you done?
One more chance.
You've increased your odds of him stepping on the pan. So just remind that. And I don't care what lure you guys use or anything. They've got to be on location or they're not going to work for you. I've used Terry's as a guide service on Toledo Bend. We could catch a ton of crappie right here, but if we move over that fence 20 yards away from his brush pile, we're not going to catch very many crappie. It's the same thing right here. So, now, the other thing on, when you set these up, and I didn't do it, I like baling wire, and I've actually made chains. But if you use a string and you got to swivel up above, put you an egg sinker on there before you hang it. You're going to have coming down, have an egg sinker, and you all know what that's for.
Keeps it from whipping up and getting caught.
Keeps it from whipping up here, because it won't do you any good if it's whipped up here on the tree. So. Are you guys liking this extra information? Okay. So the wind, if we normally have the wind coming from here, I would actually have that set right out there, guys. And the only reason I come over here, because it did drop a little bit of moisture here last night. So I come over and I looked and I said, well, I got some dry dirt right here over this and that, and I can get a set made for you guys to see. But if the wind come from there, I would have a set right where you guys are setting. The wind. How many has had those coyotes dig out from behind your set? And yeah, I hear a lot of guys say, he knew right where that trap was. No, he was one lucky SOB because the wind changed. A coyote will work downwind every time. And he'll dig out. If that wind changed and went the other way. Now, the other thing, if you, most of my doubles I caught fur trapping were usually probably 60% were two young dispersing males running together, the double was. And the rest was an old dog and a female. And a lot of guys don't know it, that sometimes that there's a nurse female in a coyote's raising. There'll be an unbred female will come to her milk and help the mother nurse those pups. And that's not well known, but it does happen. I see all kinds of question marks. I'm gonna start taking, and feel free, guys. There's no ignorant question asked, and what that will be, it will help. It will help people ask what they're curious and trained.
So is this just a burnt piece of wood just to give it some eye appeal, kind of, just something different that stands out a little bit?
Okay. It's Halloween season, right?
Uh-huh.
And you guys see those pumpkins hit the dump? What if you said, here we got a bean field, and you said, where am I going to set? If I set that orange pumpkin right out in the middle there, down a bean field, what's going to happen?
Something to get their attention.
That coyote's going to go over and see what in the world is there. And I didn't come up with that, guys. Ed Snyder of Kansas Trapline Supply is the one that told me about it. He was in western Kansas. So
Salient
I
features.
give credit due where credit's due. So, and he called it took the coyote over to his set. So, but that burnt piece of wood is, first off, it stands out like a sore thumb, right? So.
And you put urine on that, or just leave
Yeah,
it?
you'll put you can put straight urine on it if you want. You can put glandular on it.
You were talking 2.5 foot height on your feathers.
What I want that cat to try to get that raise up and go back down. I'm making him move his feet around and it can go, okay?
Because I know, like where you're talking about trapping at, open ground, long ways, where a lot of places we may be trapping, thick, tall underbrush. What would be too high, to get it where the visibility is too low, but higher than what he would actively try to play with?
You could go and let depend. What I was using, the side attractor, in case me setting it where it's at, is I want him to try to retrieve it, get it. So I want him to rear up and then come back down. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, but as high as that will get, the higher you are, the further you can see it. So.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. What would be too high to where I can still get decent visibility?
Clint Locklear was hanging some this high. So
yeah.
It's still going to do its job.
Yeah.
Now, he's a small animal, so he's not, there's no wrong way to have it. Now, flags are not 100%, but one thing it will do, if your place, it's going to say, hey, there's a trap right there, if you got some thieves around. So flags can be detrimental to you. And someone said, well, I'm on private ground. Well, I've got sheep right there at the house, and they said the coyotes got one of our sheep last night, so I went and looked in my back pasture, and so I seen the coyotes running. So I set 2 550s, and they're both destroyed because someone thought that was a good place to get a little off his girlfriend that night and run over both my traps on my place. So,
So, I noticed you put your gland lure and your urine not in the hole, but on other opposites.
Never put it in the hole.
Any reason?
I want him to move his feet.
Footsteps.
It's the same thing. There's another, and this is a real good set.
Oh, a double dirt hole.
Trap goes right there. The holes do what they move in the lure. Now, James Lord has a lay down stick like this. This is the log, guys. He's got a rub post right there, which is nothing but a stick like that. He's got rub lure right here. He's got punch holes there, and he's got lure on. What he's doing is making that cat really work those sets. But this trap goes right out here.
I've gray fox a little bit
It's
with some
cat set.
little coyote urine, get them rubbing.
What you want to do, you don't put, I don't know where you guys know it, but a cat is worse than a canine on roll. And they've got these earbud glands. It's one of the glands I use in my glandler. But you want that.
Look out.
You want that. Because he's going to come in here like this. Right there. See where his feet is? But if you put that gland all the way down, he's going to roll on you. So.
Going up high, a little higher.
You're about 12 inches to 14.
So just like a domesticated cat will rub its face on everything.
What's that?
A domesticated cat does the same thing. It'll rub.
That's the same
It'll
thing.
constantly rub its face on stuff.
Yeah, and you don't want it on the ground.
I don't know a lot about wild animals while watching your domestic ones.
I've got my bird dog, is English setter. She's 8 years old. And I've got one lure that she'll lick it, and she'll pick it up every time after she gets through licking it. So the urination response on it. So
Well, you don't have any problem with them rolling on it when you put the lure, the lure on the top of it?
he's usually got that bracelet on it for that time.
By that time? Okay.
So does a lure that makes them roll, is it bad? Because I've heard some people say if a lure makes an animal roll, it's a bad lure. And I heard some people say if it makes them roll, that's exactly what you want because they won't wear it.
You want to,
Or does it just depend on how quickly you can get them caught?
and your temperature. The higher temperature guys, the less bait and lure you want to use. Here I'm telling you, don't use very much. When I was teaching, I used half all those as I said. But actually, less is more. You've heard that. If you get your set spelling too good, they'll satisfy the curiosity from outside. But for the distance. So.
Schneider told me this past year that I went to one of his classes up in Kansas. He's got a really good long distance call. He said, I'll make it, but I won't sell it to you because it'll never work down there in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Too much skunk essence in it.
See,
It's
that's
too
like,
strong, too pungy.
Here's where Ed Snyder he was advertising in school, and I PM him and said, Ed, how come you're not putting that on my Apple Road Trapper Talk? And he said, I'm advertising my business. I said, hey, there's a lot of traffic. You're a friend of mine. Put that ad on my trapper group. You know, Ed's a good guy. He's got good products, and he gave you valid deal. That really speaks good.
If you can find, he taught me about the bone. If you can find, we have cattle, so I just walk out where the dead pile is after a year and pick up all them bones. I wore them out on bones last year.
The cat?
No, not coyote. Especially if you take it to a place where
It's
if
a
you
side
take it out
effect.
here in Kisatchie or somewhere where they don't see that, it's like he said, man, they say, shit, what is that? I'm going to that.
So,
Okay, I want to talk to you a little bit about, how many of you guys use LDC? You know what long distance call? You know what LDC is? It's skunk. Okay. I'm going to talk, I don't want it to be an advertisement. There's hardly any wind. Look at that, guys. And see how that's, look how much more movement that feather's got than that ribbon.
Will that help draw in a coyote too, or that's primarily just bobcats are interested in that?
There's something called a raccoon that's really a visual attractor.
Yeah.
Okay?
Gray fox seem to love flags too.
Yeah. Gray fox probably. Everybody, but let's get back to the skunk. The strong smell of skunk to the animals is like us as humans. Oh, wreck! Oh, a big fire. Let's go see what it is, okay? We use that with a strong smell. But the other most important thing is skunk essence is so volatile that it gets out the airstream. We use it as a carrier for other scent molecules to hitchhike a ride out into the airstream. And that's the perfume industry, and if these girls knew they was putting skunk juice on their necks,
My girlfriend
they
does it.
synthesize that and they use it for the carrier, just like bait makers. The Nelson formula, which is my bait solution that I use on my bait, has 20 drops per gallon of bait solution of pure skunk essence in it. Now the castor will eventually sweeten it where you can't smell it, but we still have that volatile scent carrying capability in it. So it's very, very useful. If I had only two choices of a lure, it would be beaver castor and skunk essence. If I just had to pick two, that's what I'd use. Okay, any other questions? I hope I gave you a little different.
Great.
How do you feel about two traps at the set? Like two traps on one dirt hole instead of just one?
The only time I've done that, Donovan, is those stupid gray fox. Seems like they spend all night starting making a tunnel from here and digging a trench up to dig your trap out. What I do on that is I'll sift back here and I'll bury a trap where I see his hind foot tracks. I'll catch him by the But two traps, there's this set here, you could do two traps. You could put a trap here and a trap here, make it a walk through. If I used that with two traps, I would have another log. Now, on your cats on a log like that, you don't use a big log. You guys know why, I'm sure.
They'll get on top
He's
of
going
it.
to be walking on top of that log. So,
What about if you put that trap on top of that log?
People have
You
done
ever
that.
I catch coons like
Yeah.
that.
Cut a notch out
Right.
and
exactly.
just JC Collar's DVD. He did that. He cut a notch out and he just set the trap there and blind set.
this you can take, you guys, some breeds, and one out of two guys in Louisiana are duck hunters. You got lots of duck down to throw around his for a side appeal. And there again, you have to know your regulations, because feathers is illegal in some states.
We can use it.
So you just, you know, and the reason I'm bringing that to you because you can trap out of state and be used to what you do at home and be in trouble. So. Okay, I've answered all your questions.
Lunch is ready, guys.
Okay.
One question: Does this deter a coyote? In other words, if you got it set just like that over your trap, it deters the coyote.
I'm going to tell you a true story. I can hang a flag like that in Missouri and I can run a coyote off. I saw a big tom track out in western Kansas. So I hung the flag, and you know what the next morning was in there?
Coyote.
A coyote. You know why? They grow up eating pheasants and quail. That's the best way I can answer your question. You know what I'm saying?
So
It's a valid answer.
Yeah. Okay.
So
With
depending
little
on
tins of smart.
Depending on where you're at and
yeah,
what
food
the diet
source.
is.
Okay.
Did I answer your
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It just depends upon
so
what they
it
eat.
depends on your locale and what you got.
Where-
Start
where-
catching
where
moles,
they eat.
I'm gonna grind them up and use a mole bait. We got a bunch
Okay.
of them where I'm at, you know.
Any other
Hey, it might
questions?
work, man.
I noticed when you set that trap
I
a
call
while
them
ago,
this.
you had that trap up pretty high.
I only cover with 1/4 to 3/8. Did you see the point I was wanting to make is show you how fast you can make that trap not wobble? Did you see that?
Uh-huh.
If it wobbles, he's going to dig it out.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So how do you feel about having a low spot in the pan?
they will step there. It's not high on my... Guys, I spent about 3 minutes to make a set.
You're more on getting on the step more than the step.
Somewhere specifically.
The more steps you can get
He
on, the
wants
better
what's
chance.
in that hole.
Good demo. You did a good job. Good
Thank
job.
you.
It's my first one I've ever done. I did.